The job space is now changing. Roles are now changing. Guess what? In Kenya, so what am I supposed to do now? All the work that I was doing, I'm faced by choice. I'm faced by a changing world in which I must make decisions that I wasn't prepared for in advance. And our role in this room as leaders and leaders of people is to guide even when we can't see. And how do we guide when we cannot see? Choice. Listen, I don't know. 5 years from now, we'll see. Was Dan correct or was Waithaka correct? Dan saying, everyone go home and we'll figure out how to deal with it, or Waithaka saying, you know what, okay, sometimes we'll be at home, hybrid. How many people are dealing with a hybrid system in their office right now? Yeah, you see, look, have you ever had to deal with that? Do you know if people are working from their home? When you call them, what's usually the sound in the background? Are microphones on? Are cameras on during the Zoom meetings that you're trying to have? And so as we make the choices, we are giving guidance where we don't know the way out. And what will guide our choices is what we're kind of going to be discussing today, is where we're trying to link that sense of purpose, individual purpose, to an organizational purpose. Now, I wish I could say I am a prophet. I may be. But we will see the choices made in this room, the effect of them over the coming years. At Centonomy, our mission is to shift mindsets so that purposeful people like yourselves who wake up at 6 in the morning, drive across a crazy town called Nairobi and show up in an office like this can be able to create wealth and to live abundantly. Now listen to me. I'm speaking to you, not just your teams. I'm speaking to you. Aren't you in this to create wealth for yourself? Okay, this side maybe, let me ask you here. Aren't you in this to create wealth for yourself? Yes. How do you do so as an employee? How do you create wealth? I am asking it. Hey, sorry. How do you create wealth? As an employee, how do you do it? I'm asking. I have a huge network. I have a huge one. It is yet to translate into, you know that people say network is your net worth. It's part of it, but it's not quite that. I'm being as practical as possible. How do I create wealth as an employee?
Value addition.
I like that. I like how ethereal we are being. Take care of a need. Value addition. We're in the right track. How do I create wealth as an employee? Yes?
Leveraging on opportunities.
Okay. How do you measure wealth? Maybe that's a better question to ask. Money in the bank! If I cannot turn that network, that leverage which we're talking about, the ideas that are there, the problem solving into money, I will be frustrated. Now watch this. And I can tell because we are all employees in the room, at least most of us are. We are excellent employees. Can I show you this? We work over 160 hours a month solving problems for our organization. Those problems are worth millions and in many cases billions. Right now we're training banks. And how many people have been paying attention to the news, the profits that have come in this year for pretty much every single bank in this nation? And so right now is bonus time within the banking section. And right now I'm sitting and training in banks where I'm telling them, you guys solved, like currently we're doing KCB, they solved a 34 billion shilling problem. You are solving hundreds of millions of shilling problems in your organization. Now I have a question for you, employee. Who's solving yours? You spend 160 hours a month plus, because how many of us actually spend only the time that you clock off at 8? Do you arrive? So 160 hours plus solving millions of shillings, if not billions of shillings problems for our organization. My question to you is, who's solving yours? And here's the thing. Why we fail to engage in our workplaces is because there's a sense in which I am not sure. I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. I'm not sure if this is working for me. Can I make it even more, how would I say, explicit? This is how people say it, right? This is how, I don't know if you've heard employees saying, I'm doing all this for this organization, what are they doing for me? Have you heard that sentiment? Yeah. Guess what? They're paying you. Who talked about value? They're valuing your time at that level. Can I show you your value? Get out your calculator. Type in your current gross monthly income. Or cover your phone so your neighbor doesn't see it. Type in your gross monthly income just so that your neighbor doesn't see it. Gross monthly income. Divide by 160. Because that's what your contract says, right? 160. Gross monthly income, divide by 160. 160. That's what they value your hour. An hour of your work. Wow. Now watch this. Most of us in this room, if not all, I have a sense in which it is all in this room. When you look at similar work, similar levels, similar experience within the industry, you're not too far off. You're not too far off. So it is not an issue of value. You're valued okay. The question is, what are you doing with the value that you're receiving? That's number one. When you receive it, do you have control? When you receive it, do you feel like you're putting it into a place in which it is going to be working for you? And guess what? Why I'm speaking to you directly is because the people and the teams that you're dealing with are feeling the same as you are, if not more. And so if they are uncertain, how do they then link what they're doing? So can I bring it back now? I wanted to go to the fundamental point. Can I bring it back to where we were a couple of minutes ago? If I recognize, did you see that number? You'll never forget that number again, eh? What you've just said. If I see that number and I say, guess what? I think I'm worth more than this. What does that do for me? It drives my ambition. It drives my goal for what? For more. I have to recognize this is not enough for me to achieve my goals. Come on, let's throw out some of our goals, specifically financial goals coming out of employment. What are our goals? Why are we working? Why are you here at this time on a bright morning, other than the wonderful food that I know you can get that food anywhere else? Why did you come here? Why? What's the goal? Why are you working so hard? For what? No, stop. Don't be general. Here's a trick. With your financial goals, don't be general. Be specific. To stop paying rent. That's specific. Where do you want to be living? Say it, yes. On Mombasa Beach. Let's leave this city where it's cold like this in the morning and simply have that ocean breeze in our face. Watch this. How do I get there? Sorry, go ahead.
By improving already what I'm getting for that 1 hour.
How do I do that? Investing what I'm receiving is one of them. So I am growing what I am receiving. But please understand that number which you saw in front of you just now, is it sufficient? No. So I also need to grow what I'm receiving so that I can invest more of what I'm receiving. How do I do that? Watch this, write this down so that you don't forget. I'm shocked at how much, this is what we tell the young people. We train teenagers and we train campus students. But I've realized this is a message I need to hear today. And I tell the young people, listen to this. Don't chase after money. Auntie, what you were saying a couple of minutes ago. Chase after value. Because if I become more valuable, money will chase after me. How many of you have dealt with headhunting in your organization? Your best employees left. Why? Who took them? Competitors. Because guess what? It's so much easier than doing interviews. If I can see competency somewhere, can I just go get it? Why are we doing a whole interview process? You know, when we go for meetings, you're assessing the person across from you, isn't it? And you're just saying, oh, hey, hold on a minute. I think you can do something for us here. What have you just done? You have built your value. Watch where that mindset came from. Write this down. No, don't write it yet. You'll write it in the version that it works for you. This works for me, right? I work at Centonomy. Did you hear the word I used? I work what? At. I do not work. Who am I working for? For the plans God has put into my heart, for my family, for the goals that I have. If I get that in my mind, it doesn't matter which organization I'm at, because when I am there, I am in that space for who? And I'm going to give my best, not because of the weekly stuff, targets, and all the strategies that you put in place. It is because I have found a direction for who? For me. So I am driven, and I'm looking for an organization. I'm looking how to align now my personal vision, my goals with what? With the organization I'm dealing with. Who are you working for? So my 160 hours a week, now my mindset changes, because remember where we started this discussion? It's 160 hours for? What did we say our employees are saying? 160 hours for the organization. What are they doing? For me, I am working 24 hours, well, more like 18 hours a day for me and for the goals God has put into my heart. If you want a staff member, you want somebody in your team who's focused, who's guided, it is because they have figured out what they want. Have you? We have seen it over and over again. It is a mindset shift. It is a mindset shift. And if we get that, if we understand it ourselves, we will push our teams to understand it for themselves, and that alignment can only bring results for our organization. Only. Because now you're not chasing anybody. People are chasing you. How many people have had an employee coming for, can we please do a review? Can we do an assessment today? That's someone who is looking for growth. Someone who's focused on results. Not for you, not for the organization, for themselves. And if you can empower your teams to recognize that, and then empower them with the financial tools to know that, look, I'm being effective here. How can I grow in my effectiveness here? And now I'm going to be effective also when I'm not here. I'm putting my money where it should be growing and developing for me, so that once I leave work, I'm going to be in the right place. Good. Because that nagging sense that you have, it's real. Let me explain why as I finish. If you're earning 100,000 shillings today, 100,000 shillings today, with current inflation rates, in 10 years' time, you will need 400,000 shillings to live the same lifestyle. I remember this because it's the number I use in the class. It's clear. 1992, a loaf of bread was how much? 7 shillings for 500 grams. 1993, it was 15 shillings for 500 grams. Today, a loaf of bread is how much? 55 shillings for 400 grams. 10 years from now, what do you think it is going to be? And because I'm not sure, I sense it. You know how I sense it? I'm watching my parents and where they are, and the shock of coming out of the workspace and seeing the pension I'm being paid. You guys work with RBA, isn't it? You know, most people who leave their pensions are catering for 30%, if at the maximum, of the need afterwards. So that nagging feeling has to be dealt with. If I don't know how this work is going to benefit me 10 years from now, and the dreams, the beachfront property, not paying rent anymore, the life that I want, I am not focused. I don't understand how I have to be able to figure out the problems here so that it figures out my problems later. So as we deal with choices that are changing in our lives, let's guide people with the choices that we make in this room.